Hello, everybody. Welcome to Esoteric Tea with Courtney and Lucky. Let's see where this takes us. First, there might be a little bit of internet issues. I'm not sure because we had a little bit of basically freezing and came back again about 5 minutes ago. It seems to be okay right now, but if things go wonky, you'll know why. Because this morning, Microsoft had a big issue, so it might be bleeding into tonight. Hello,
Yeah.
Secret Truth. Hello, Lori Elderkin.
Yeah, I wish I could see the chat. I should have put that together. Happy Friday, everybody, by the way.
Happy Friday.
Happy
It's
Friday.
right now
Yeah.
it's cooling down where we are right now, which is nice.
Oh.
It's cooling down. It was like 90s and now it's in the 80s, which to me is like, you know what? I'll take it.
Yeah, I saw your some of your shorts of like where you walk in the woods. And I'm used to seeing them in the winter time, and then I'm seeing them now in the summertime, and I'm like, "Oh my goodness, those such great woods to walk in. There's not so much like overgrowth and you're in danger of, tripping and breaking an ankle, that kind of thing.
No, it's actually really nice. I would say it's easy to moderate because some spots have got rocky ways, little rocks in the way, but you can walk around them if you're paying attention. So it's actually an easy hike. For runners, it's a little more tricky because of those stupid rocks that they got to pay attention to. And then the
Right.
mountain bikes, that they're my favorite because their trees have fallen across the path, and someone has gone and taken some of the trees up, but they left some of the trees there. So if you're walking, it's not a big deal. But if you're on a bike, forget it. Which I like because I don't like the mountain bikes. I don't mind them; they're allowed to, but it's a pain when they're flying along and come by you. It gets a little kind of nerve wracking.
Did I ever tell you, Lucky, of the story of when I almost fell into a really huge hole? Like a hole the size of a house. Did I tell you that story?
No, wow.
So I used to hike a lot. And then I broke my ankle. Most people do know that. Like severely broke my ankle. I twisted my foot 180 degrees. Well, the first hike that I like actual hike that I went on after that was maybe a year or two later. And I'm in, I think, Michigan. It's hard because, I traveled a lot of states. I was in Michigan, I think, though, and I was staying on somebody's property, and I'm hiking with a friend. And we're just going along, and it kind of looked like the woods from your shorts.
Mhm.
So I'm not thinking anything of it. And we're walking over just some brush, and all of a sudden, the entire leg of the broken ankle, previous broken ankle, fell straight through.
Oof.
So my friend starts freaking out because he knows about my ankle, everything. And I'm kind of now bent in a weird position because my right leg did not go through. And I'm looking around and I notice it wasn't actual leaves and sticks. It was what looked like a bunch of bamboo, which I'm thinking we're in Michigan. Where are people getting bamboo like this? That I fell right in. And I knew, I mean, clearly my leg was just hanging. This was a big hole. So and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can lift myself up with my one leg. So I kind of did this because I told him, I said, we are on top of a big hole. And he then kind of looked down and I was like, look, we're actually on bamboo. We are not on ground.
Wow.
And he looked and he went, oh my God, what are we going to do? I said, I am going to slowly roll to my side gently and slower than anything. I said, I don't want you to move at all yet. And I rolled and I was able to get my leg out. But to get back up was tricky because I couldn't put a whole lot of weight on my ankle. And
Mhm.
so I was like, now I do need help. So he helped me back up and we walked so slowly through the rest of that. And looking back, like looking at the clearing that we thought was a clearing, it was bigger than a house. Because at first we were like, okay, there's hunters out here. This is a bear trap. This is a deer, whatever trap, right? No. I don't know what you're trying to trap out there in Michigan. It was a massive, huge hole that they it's like they strung stuff together to with bamboo to, I don't know, I weird experiences like that I have no idea what those people were doing. And I was on supposedly what I thought was those people's land. Like I knew the owners, but I don't know if we ended up going somewhere else. But I'm thinking about, like you just said, the kids on the bikes, the this, the that, and I'm thinking, oh my god, this you would never get out. You would never get out.
Yeah, see, it's crazy. Did they abut like a conservation land or something, or a
No,
hunter's?
no. I was on. His name was Chuck.
Yeah.
He owned the land. I mean, he had the best outdoor. He built the best outdoor shower. I mean, it was a great land in Michigan. I think it was Michigan. And but my friend and I went for a pretty long hike. We didn't realize that we actually were gone for a few hours
Hmm.
because you're just hiking and talking and um so after that we kind of, we walked forward to get off of it and then we realized how big it was and we went, okay, we're going to circle this thing to backtrack because now we're not sure whose land we're really on.
Hmm.
Because when we got back, we asked Chuck, we were like, what is that huge pit? It wasn't even a pit, dude. I mean, my legs, I have a uh 36 inseam and it went straight down. And I could tell it went even way deeper. I don't know what those freaks are doing out there. And Chuck, when we asked him about it, he said, I don't know what you're talking about.
Huh.
So he assumed we went onto someone else's land. I don't know. There's a bunch of crazy people out there doing crazy things. Watch yourself, folks. But that's what when I saw your shorts, I was like, oh, what a beautiful walk. But it did remind me of that.
Yeah, I do know people in Maine who allow hunters and they allow hikers on their land, but they do not allow ATVs.
Mm-hmm.
So they have in the past done things like that with wood or something like that, that
Yes.
an ATV, but they don't make it that big. Usually it's about maybe 2 feet deep. So if the ATV hits it, it's going to flip over. And
Right.
of course, they're going to be like, complain everything. And it's like posted everywhere, no ATVs, only foot traffic allowed.
Yeah, and I also understand trapping bears. My dad was a bear trapper. I mean, I understand stuff. He was a just think of my dad as like a, lumberjack.
Mhm.
And he trapped bears and did a whole bunch of stuff. So I even understand that. This was a whole different thing that I later I was thinking, I wonder if they were in the middle of trying to build a huge like underground bunker that they didn't want anybody to know about.
But still,
I
using,
know. And then why so much bamboo? Like it was bamboo, it was not sticks. I mean, I know the difference, Anyways, what a weird thing to bring up, but I'm just saying it was such weird things can happen in life that when looking back on it, it's like I still don't even know what the hell that was. Thank God I actually didn't fall all the way in.
yeah.
That's the saving grace is, and I love that part of life that you can look back at all this crazy stuff and go, well, something was watching over me, you know.
I mean, I do know that this thing's called Japanese knotweed and it's a bamboo, and that stuff grows very quickly and it's hollow and it's bamboo. And you can use that for a lot of stuff, but it's hard to get rid of. So people use it to harvest and everything. But again, once you have it, it's hard to get rid of. So they might have had a whole section of this bamboo, and they use it for this for some unknown reason. But that stuff is hollow. It's very fragile.
Yeah, but here's the thing too, like everything was lined with that, but then covered.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So clearly, no one was supposed to know that there's this huge, like, house size hole I, let's move on. I'm just because we're not going to solve this. I bet
No,
you if
no, no.
somebody in Michigan's, if anybody's in Michigan and you know what that kind of thing is,
Wow.
because it was not just for a bear. I know the size for a bear trap. This was not that. It was, I think, yeah, there might be like a beautiful, wonderful underground bunker now there.
Hmm.
And I just accidentally stepped into it when it was just getting started. Because this
Yeah.
would have been maybe like oh 06, oh 07, oh 07. I think so. I think it was
Yeah.
about oh
That,
07.
that sounds. Yeah, that sounds about
That
right.
sounds about
Yeah.
right, don't it? Yeah. So, Lucky, happy Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. How are you, Lucky?
I'm getting through. I'm passing, and I'm, keeping my trying to keep my nose clean and not get too angry at the ridiculousness of management. Um, uh, you know. A side note: I got really pissed at my managers one night, and I'm sitting there fuming. And instead of letting it get to me, I wrote a letter of resignation and put not to send. It's just to vent, and it was, not professional. It was full of vitriol, venom, anger, spite, and it made me feel a lot better. Like this
And
is the
where is
talk.
this letter now?
Oh, it's actually next to me.
You hand wrote it. Okay, good.
Actually, I have three versions, but let's say
Oh my
they
God.
stayed together with a pile of my resumes that I, bind a clip together four ways because it made it so obvious. Like, do not forget this, and I put it in my computer bag. But again, it's got four binder clips on it, so there's no way I could forget that because just paperwork. I'll leave it there. No, no, this is like, hey, guess what? Don't leave this sitting around. You take this with you wherever you go.
It's wild because I know other people that work in your same industry. And yeah, around that 5 year mark, it's like you're being tested to an extreme that you're a better man than me, Lucky. You're a
Yeah,
better man than me because I
I
would have
am.
already burned it down to the flipping ground.
I'm getting close to it, so that's why I'm doing control burns. One of the managers, he will call into meetings, but he demands that we be on video, but he's not on video. So they told me that, because this is the end of third shift and into first shift, third shift is going to control, will be in charge of the meeting, and they'll have to do the presentation. And they go, we're sorry about that. I'm like, no, this is good because I'm going to say, if you're at my meeting and we're required to have a camera on, you're required to have a camera on. If you do not want to put your camera on, please leave my meeting. And they're like, you're going to do that? I'm like, absolutely. He made the ground rules. Managers should live by their own rules.
Yeah,
Yes, it's going to get me into a lot of trouble. But again, the people up high enough just to get those two levels above me uh, really respect me.
yeah.
But the two levels above me, they're just kind of push me. They're probably afraid of me because they most be let see how much they could get away with. And I've been basically happy go lucky, like, okay, I'll do this, I'll do that, no problem. Now they broke me, and this is the one thing is you don't push me too far, and this is
Yeah.
what's happening.
You don't put, you're a water sign, you're a Pisces. You don't ever push water signs too far.
Yeah,
Because then the levee breaks and nobody understands why. Nobody knows where the hell it's coming from. The levee breaks and it's like, oh shit.
so
Here,
I have
we're all drowning in it now.
so that's the thing where Angie Owens, hello Angie Owens.
Oh, love it, Angie. I love her. She's great. Um, Lucky, you're gonna get through it. I'm glad you maybe wrote it out, didn't type it out. That's a
Mm,
good thing. That's a very, very good thing. Yeah, you're a better man than me. Just one day at a time, man.
yes,
And
yes.
the thing about your boss, you know what that is that you have integrity. You, because I say it all the time, I'll never ask others to do what I'm not willing to do myself or that I haven't done myself already. That could go from healing to changing a tire on a car, whatever it may be. I'm not going to ask others what I'm not willing to do myself. And that's all you're asking. That's all you want. And so it's a part of integrity and actually respect, receiving respect and giving respect.
This is exactly my point, and that when I'm going to try to be in controlled reaction, not overreaction, and say respect, mutual
Right.
respect. If this is what you want, you're going to have to do the same thing. We will do what you want, but you're going to have to give us the same respect. It's a two-way street, and if
It's a
you
two-way
refuse to
street.
do that, we're going to have trouble working together.
Yeah. So, Lucky, I gotta say, you are the host tonight. And
Yeah, I
so
am.
whatever we're talking about, you said, yeah, I am. That's right. High five to Lucky.
Yeah.
Um, what are we talking about, Lucky? Because you put an interesting title there. Then in the description, it was something about a balloon. Your brain is a balloon. I don't know, man. What are we talking about?
Well, it was basically just me trying to think outside the box, and then saying, well, when you think outside the box, you still have the box. And then my thought was, okay, let's take the box and expand upon it rather than thinking outside the box. And you have to utilize the environment, fill it with air, fill it with helium, and then you're floating. And the funny thing about floating is you have to be where you are right now. You have to focus on where you are and where you're going to go in the immediate future.
Right.
So that was the idea
So you
because
don't
yeah,
fall.
you don't
If I'm
fall.
floating, I'm going to be thinking about don't fall.
Right. And also
Hmm.
where you have been and where you're going is secondary to wait, where am I doing right this moment? How am I keeping control of the situation as it is? And that's what I'm trying to focus on. I'm not thinking too much. The past you can't change. The past is the past. And the future, well, you can manipulate it and change it, but you have to be in the now so that you can, have control of your life. You only part of your life you really control is now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what the floating thing. The float when you're on the when you're on the balloon, you're kind of to the whims of environment, and you have to be right now because what's going to happen when the winds change or when directions change, or
So you took this
and I
box
mean,
that supposedly we're all in, and you said, I'm going to fill this bitch with some helium
and it can float.
and make it float. So Lucky is floating around on a balloon, looking at the past and somewhat the future, but you got to focus on the now because you're technically floating.
Hmm. It's basically just a metaphor to say sleep. You have to work in the now because life is out of control sometimes.
I dig it. I dig it. I for some reason did I don't know why this is popping up into my head, probably just because the Phantom Toll Booth. It's a children's book from like the 70s, and they even made a movie. Oh, actually even earlier than that. It was from the early 60s, and then they made a movie, like a cartoon, half human, half cartoon movie.
Hmm.
Do you know that story, the Phantom Toll Booth?
It sounds familiar, but I don't remember much about it.
Oh my goodness, it's such the main character's name is Milo, and he's just having a miserable time in life. You know, he's young, he has no friends, he lives in a city, it's a miserable time. And he gets this big box on his birthday, and he's like, who sent me this? There's no parents around, there's no anybody around, it's just like Milo in this crappy city apartment. And he gets this box sent on his birthday, and he's like, what the hell is this? And then all of a sudden, like, one part of the box opens, and a car drives out of it, and just there's a note that says get in. And this whole question of like, do I get in, do I not, what do I have to lose? Do I have anything to lose? And Milo's like, I don't got nothing to lose. Well, then when he gets in, it takes him to this new world. And within the story, there's all these amazing metaphors, um like the swamp of goo, of like you can't live in stagnation. Stagnacious goo is how, I would put it. And, then there's a dog, his little sidekick called TikTok, who is all about time. And then there's a conductor that conducts the weather. There's metaphors, but there's like this underlining massive themes about making decisions. And it's a great children's book, no matter what generation we're in. That's what I guess I'm saying. But for some reason, when you were talking about your box and turning it into a balloon, I started thinking about Milo
Hmm.
and how it's like we can actually do whatever we want with that box.
Yeah.
You made yours float.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you think there's a lot of people that feel they're in a box?
I do. I think a lot of us, and myself included, allow others to control us until, we're willing to. The people pleaser part of us. Some of us have bigger people pleasers. Some of us have smaller people pleasers. But we always want to do the nice thing and help people, especially those people wear our hearts on our sleeve. So, and just little by little, we allow them to manipulate and control us and put us into everyone else's boxes. And sometimes we forget, wait, what kind of box do I want to be in? Even do I want to be in their box? And it
Mm,
usually doesn't happen until either oh, why are you so overactive? Because eventually it just becomes too much when everyone comes to you with their problems, but you have nowhere to react to. And I think that's a big problem with us, as people pleasers, is that we tend to be the one to help everyone, but when we need assistance, it goes on deaf ears. It happens a lot at work. That's one of the things is like I'm always willing to help
yeah.
everyone else, but when I need assistance and try to get, and I realize it's not because they don't want to help, it's because
Out of my experience and knowledge of I've had other friends in that. That's kind of how it goes. You got to
yeah,
kind of let go a little bit. And it sucks because everything there should be black and white, legit, everything. But at the end of stuff, that they're kind of trying to say, let go some. Hard to do. But now I have friends that did that, and now they're in the positions to make a difference.
well, that's always good.
Right. Yeah. Lucky, do you think with your little box balloon, your little box balloon, do you think other people or a creator or the system, like the I don't know, like the matrix, the paradigms that we live in, do you think something else creates the boxes that we then are in?
No,
We create the box?
we create the box. It
Mm.
reminds me of Pink Floyd The Wall, where the guy for the whole movie is saying, I want to tear down the wall, break down the wall, please help me break down the wall. And in the end, he built the wall. This was his creation. And it actually, well, I think we do it a lot. We complain about something, but if it actually gets fixed, it's terrifying to us because we relied on this excuse to be, why we're here, this is, and why. So I think we build the box. I think we people pleasing, training from other people, and our own personal mindset, our ego. We build the box, and we can change it, but a lot of times it's comfortable. It's our box, and it puts us, it makes it easy. But thinking outside the box, that gets challenging because
Mm.
you have to walk away, spending how far you think outside the box, it gets more and more challenging. But yeah, I do believe that we build it. Other people have have influence, but again, it's our box.
Mm. Do you think it has to do with like low self un feeling unworthy but not having the awareness of it?
Honestly, I think it's about, what does they call it? there's a thing where you don't feel you belong in the position you're in. It's a complex. It's basically you think to be
Inferiority complex?
it's even more. It's when you feel that you're fake, that you're not. Everyone thinks you know more than you do.
Oh, like an imposter.
It's exactly what it is.
There you
Imposter.
go.
And I
Okay.
think a lot of us have a degree of imposter complex where a lot of people see us for our knowledge and our insights, but sometimes we ourselves say, why do they think I'm so intelligent and so smart? This is not that big of a deal. Wait, do they think I'm better than I really am? And when am I going to fall? When are they going to realize? When are they going to question? When I don't know any more than they do.
Oh, wow.
I
Okay, I love that.
because there is
I mean,
a
I don't love it. I
well,
love that we got there in this discussion.
yeah, it goes. There's a woman. There's a couple of women I work with who are very insightful, very intelligent. But the manager, he berates them and he judges them.
Hmm.
He gives them red boxes on the spreadsheet. These things don't mean anything. And I don't have any because I've gone out and said, you can put all the stupid little red boxes under my name you want because at the end of the year, you're going to be the fool. And I don't have a single one. Right as of right now, I have not. So that's why I keep leveling things up when, the
Yeah.
bullshit. Usually the bullshit happens around me to the people around me, and then eventually I'm the last one who has to follow this stupid, ridiculous. Because I
Do
work
you
third
think
shift.
do you think you can have imposter syndrome? And I think you can have that and also play it off as I am an idiot, or play it off as I am lazy, or play it off as I have low self-esteem. There was a term I'm trying to think. What do you think about that?
I think to a degree that's how they try to get out of it because they'll talk to you says, I don't know all that much, but
Hmm.
they don't hear that, and so they're getting it off their chest, and they know they're not listening, and like I'm trying to tell them, please pick me down a peg, please, because you're afraid, again, eventually you make the fall. If you're always afraid of falling to the bottom where you belong when you're up high, but in the truth, you do know more than they, but you also you question your knowledge.
Yeah, but I was just thinking as you were talking, yeah, it's some kind of safety, personal safety
Yes.
habit, pattern, that what have you, that was learned at some kind of young age
Hmm.
to keep things even keel, to keep things safe. Act as if you don't know, as if act just you know be neutral. I don't know anything. Some kind of self-preserving safety precaution. And lucky there's different folks out there. I mean, the way you're describing that, I know a lot of people that that's how they live. And then there's people like me, and that I also don't recommend it. I don't, because I'm the type that I'm like a bulldozer. I, I'll barrel right through, right? I don't recommend that either. I've had to
Hmm.
work on that aspect of me. And, if I disagreed with something, oh, I was going to tell you when it doesn't really matter that much. I've had to
Yeah.
work on things like that. So I think more it's the concept of what box are you building then? What are you doing with your box? And do we even have to have a box? I mean, we talk about like expansion so much in this ascension dialogue that we have. Expansion. Is there still a necessity to even have a box or build a box?
Yeah, I think current society, you have to choose the boxes just so you can be able to define who you are, and basically to be able to
Mm.
tell everyone, who you are. And it, yeah, we go. Our boss tells us we have a job description, we have a family job. So yeah, we have multiple boxes we put ourselves into, and we can get out of it any time. But again, there's the comfort. It's the known. Okay. This is what I had to do to be myself. If you talk outside the box, you're gonna have to change things, and maybe things that get scary. Sometimes the right thing is scarier than doing what you are right now.
Yeah. I so we have multiple boxes for the different. I always disagreed with people that would say, "Well, I'm me no matter where I go." To a certain extent, yes, but no. And I was raised to think of myself in three parts. And the way it was described to me was my first name, my middle name, and my last name when I had a maiden name. And like my first name, that's who people would see. Cortney. Everybody sees Cortney. They hang out with Cortney. We sit around a fire. We do whatever with Cortney. And then I have a middle name that no one actually sees. No one sees her. My middle name is Irene. No one sees Irene. Irene
Mhm.
is the one who reads alone, goes to art museums alone, goes to the movies alone, goes for hikes alone. No, enjoys silence for days on end alone. No one sees her. Brad, maybe a little bit, but even Brad doesn't really know Irene as much. And then my last name, my maiden name was Ostrander. It was what people also half saw, but also heritage, ancestry, upbringing, family, that kind of thing. All those things that we end up bringing into ourselves unconscious of. And especially with that name, because I am such a big human, I couldn't avoid. I mean, everybody would hear that name and they'd be like, "Yeah, you're definitely that." So it I always used it in different times. Like most of the time, people would know Courtney. Barely no one ever sees Irene. Like all day yesterday, it was Irene, and no one got to see that. When Brad came home, I then left the house. Like no one sees her. And because she's mine. She's me. She's that all those parts of yourself that you just hold close and dear to yourself. It's not that I wouldn't be willing, but it's because it's special to me, right? And then let's say I gotta do yard work, or sometimes when I'm going to a party, or I don't know, I do gotta tell a boss off. That's usually what was my maiden name, because I take on more of the larger than life, the masculine of it, right? Because as females, we're carrying our masculine names. So that's how I was raised, and I do think that then we build boxes for each one of those three, right?
Mhm.
I think, and you can see it in mind, body, and soul. You could see it that Courtney's the mind, Irene's the soul, and Ostrander's the body. You can see it in however way you need to, but I think we build boxes for each one of them, and then depending on the circumstance or activity, event, whatever happens, conversation, you present one of those boxes. How do you feel about that?
That makes sense because there are when you run into somebody, any interaction, there is some predisposition that there's something going to be there. There's something, so you're going to have an idea which box to use by each of your interactions. So that does make sense.
Yeah,
But you can say that we're influenced by other people, but again, we're only influenced by other people. It's created by us, and our perception of what the reality is.
yeah. So what are you going to do with your box, Lucky?
I don't have a box. I have a balloon.
Oh, right, that's right. You're hovering above,
I just
looking
want
down at us poor little folks.
because I don't think thinking outside the box does enough. Sometimes you got to get away from that box because You know,
How is blowing it up getting away from it? Like, you only put helium in it. It's still the damn box, isn't it? Just in a different
but
perception
perspective,
or
exactly.
perspective.
Because you're a boxer on the ground, you have very limited sight. But when you're on a balloon up a high, you can see further around and, know about the more choices in what, how, what you have to do right now to succeed. Before you would have limited choices. Okay, these are the choices I have. They're not the greatest, but they're actually, we always have much more choices than we allow or what others give us. That's another thing is, when they pretend to empower you, when they ask you a question, you can have this or that. Not from me. You give me two choices, I'm choosing a fourth, not even a third, because I know what they're trying to manipulate, saying, we gave you a choice. We empowered you. This was, you were part of it. I never want them ever just be able to say that. I want to say, no, this was what I want. This is the better for all. That's another thing I push is that I'm thinking for the group, not for myself. And right
Right.
now, the group is suffering. They hate when I do that.
All the groups are suffering, apparently. Um, so I have to bring it back to the beginning because we talked about this concept of like having nothing to lose. And I do have to say, I think those that have like children,
Hmm.
like you and others that might be in a similar position with taking care of children or taking care of a parent, or they have, instead of maybe like for me, I would maybe just I would just burn down the box.
Yeah.
I literally would set it on fire and just start anew,
Hmm.
which is kind of where I was yesterday. I was so, I kept just saying, I'm dying onto myself. I'm dying onto myself. I'm burning myself away to resurrect again as that beautiful phoenix. I was being very Scorpio about it. I'm full of a ton of Scorpio energy. Um, you know, I would just burn it away and just start anew. But then there's folks out there that's not necessarily complete. They can't just do that. They can't just from start to finish, they can't just start anew. So the concept is to, well, then go higher, either with the box or outside of the box, something like that, to gain a different perspective. Hmm. Do you think if you do that, then you converse more with your higher self? I think still people are very confused about higher self and lower self and all these selves. But, or is it your conscious mind of now that's just choosing to expand? Because, see, I'm thinking you're expanding. I mean, you expand that box with helium to then float in an area you've never been before. That is expansion.
Hmm. Is now it's not really conversing with the higher self. It's maybe more becoming the higher self, that kind of thing, where the higher self is the ideal, and you can never really get there, but you can move closer to it.
Yeah, and you at the beginning you were talking about how, and by doing that, you're kind of forced into always paying attention to the now.
You have to, because exactly, it's a balloon, and it's to stay on the surface, stay in the right place. You have to pay attention and keep an eye on where you are right now. You can look around and see what past and future or what's around you, but again, you have to focus physically on where you are standing, or you'll fall off.
Or you'll
And that's what
fall
it is. I
off.
think a lot of us need to focus on right now, because we only control right now.
Yeah. Lucky, you ever heard of fifth generational warfare?
Nope.
Okay. You ever heard of the concept of like attacking our boxes, basically attacking us with fear and
Oh, yeah.
the fear,
Yes.
just all fear based, all fear
Yeah.
based. That's kind of fifth generational warfare. Um, hmm. So how would people be able to expand by blowing up their box with helium to then have a different perspective from up high? That all sounds very fearful to me. Because then we also have to focus on the now so we don't fall. How do we get people to maybe do that without fear? How would we do that?
There is,
How, like, introduce the concept? Like,
well, if see the thing is, you're afraid of falling off, but the excitement is about being in control. It's the thing about the idea of being a person sitting on a balloon. You have to have very good balance and kind of physical wise, mental wise, be at the right place. So fear is basically about falling off, but that without that fear of falling off, there's no thrill of what you've done and accomplished by being able to balance on a balloon.
yeah, no balance, no strategy, no awareness, no self awareness. I mean, that also takes a lot of self awareness. Hmm.
So it's more of a metaphor to
Yeah, I like
because
this
the box is
metaphor.
safe. The box is always safe. Always, it's you're not going to advance, but at least it's a safe place. While the balloon, it's about skill. It's about learning. You have to acquire skill, even though if you kind of knew before, you're acquiring new skills by floating on a phantom balloon.
You have to say, how much did you smoke when you had this thought? Like what triggered the thought of, well, this box that I'm living in, I'm just gonna turn it into a balloon. What all right. I like it. I like the metaphor, and it does, to me, it's expansion with responsibility. That's what I'm hearing. Like expansion with responsibility. Expansion with self-awareness through it all, which is really a key to expansion. So have you tested out your balloon, Lucky?
I just started it this morning.
Oh, well, shoot. Well, I guess we're testing it out now. I guess, what do you see up there, Lucky?
Oh, it's that. See, that's the thing. It's not important what you see. It's about balancing on the balloon. Yes, you have more potential to see all around you, but it really isn't as important. A lot of times we want to know the future. We want to think about the past. But but at this balancing on this flying balloon, you have the potential to see it, but really the most important thing is about balance and about being right now, being safe on the balloon. It's yes, what can
Huh.
I see? I can't see anything because I'm learning how to balance on a balloon.
Now, that is a meme. I was gonna say it's a bumper sticker, but that'd be one damn long bumper sticker. So that is a meme. We should do a little picture of a balloon with a man standing on top, and there you go. I'm in the now because I'm learning how to balance on a balloon. Which maybe that's what we're all doing. This wonderful Earth.
Yeah, but that's the thing. A lot of us are fighting our own personal battles, but we really got to stop fighting ourselves and basically just start pulling back from allowing others to control us.
So the takeaway from here is, don't just think outside the box. um, expand out of the box while balancing in self awareness and stay in the now at all times. Is that what the takeaway is?
Stay in the now when you can. That's mostly it's about. It's about staying in the now when you can, um, because we can't all the time. Basically, just too much of things about what happened before and learning from that and what's going to happen in the future that comes into our lives. But when you can in your own personal time, it's stay in the now. Just think about being in the now, but of course, because the world pulls you away from it and wants you to think about past and future.
You know, when we're in the now, we can cherish it so much more. The life, the thing called life. Because usually in the now, nothing's actually happening to us.
Hmm.
We're just living. We're just breathing. We're just doing whatever. I wonder. So we know there's a flat Earth and a round Earth and a potato size Earth. I guess I never asked you, Lucky. What do you think? What do you think of the Earth? I don't know what you think.
How
I've
does
never
the
asked
shape of
you.
the Earth matter in my day-to-day life?
Oh, that is.
I
I have asked you
honestly
before.
don't care, and I have said that multiple times. And I'm like, okay, you firmly believe the Earth is an obligate spheroid. It's circular, it's round, right? And what's going to happen? Do you think you can actually convert a flat earther? Do you think there's anything you could say? How does that benefit you to get upset about them not learning any better? Because again, not knowing it doesn't affect you in your day-to-day life.
Yeah, I that's the
I'll
part
hate
that
that.
always throws me off is like people get agitated for some reason. Because when people awaken to new ideas and they expand outward, it seems so literal to them in that moment. It is so it's the truth. When there is no such flippin' thing as the truth. You know, there's no such thing as that. Your truth is your truth, my truth is my truth, and because perception is reality. And so that's how we create. So there is literally no such thing as the ultimate truth. But the anger that comes along, really it's a part of ascension anger too. That ego,
Hmm.
and man, if you can't pierce it and come to understand that nobody's right. The
Yes, that
greatest minds in the world knew that everyone including themselves is stupid. Greatest minds in the world know
true.
that we absolutely don't know anything.
Because the more you learn, the more you realize, oh, wait, what am I basing this off of? Because you get information and you keep going further and further down the path that
Mm-hmm.
contradicts the stuff in the beginning. But
Exactly.
it all is facts. It's
And
just
to
what
whom?
science,
And to
yeah.
whom?
It's
Right.
perception, yeah. It's craziness.
Yeah. And so the greatest minds in the world, and the humility in that too. I mean, some of the greatest minds in the world would say none of us know anything, including themselves, who knew vastly more than any of us. The humility in that alone, that's, I think, what people need more so, because it's the ego that says, I'm right, you're wrong. This is truth, that's not truth. you know My goodness. And from what story? From what story? From what timeline, as we like to call them? What story are we referencing here? The stories that we have on paper now? Or the stories that did exist that nobody knows about? Or the stories that have been manipulated and changed? Or many, many, many stories?
That's true. It's the problem with everything is that everything written is from perspective. So the truth is from the perspective of the author. They don't intend to misrepresent the truth, but that's how they see it. And then they write it down and then you read it. So you're getting their perspective and then you're going to pick up your own perspective from their. Yeah, that's the problem with, facts. They're very wishy-washy.
Do our boxes piss us off?
If you're prone to it, yeah. I mean,
Hmm.
you have to be comfortable. If you're not comfortable with your own box, either fear or doubt, which is fear. So yeah, I think the box that causes you to question or to fear your future is the one that pisses you off. Because
Ah.
anger is a response to not being able, in control and afraid. That's the best way of putting it. It's not being in control.
Or something's not right.
Right.
And not just. Something is wrong with your code your
Mhm.
box. Huh. That's interesting. We can get pissed off at our own boxes that we create ourselves.
I think that's the thing. If we didn't create them, they wouldn't have as much impact on us. We probably would dump them pretty much quickly. But because we created it, whatever warped thing that bothers us, it's still from our creation, and it's hard to kill your own
Mm.
creation. So,
Mm.
because I do know, I mean, you pass in interactions with people where someone will insult one person and they won't even hear it because they know it's not true. But another person, that same person will say the same insult to a single person, and what they hear is something that they find partially true about themselves, and it's very upsetting. So the same statement, insults, can basically be ignored by one person and just tear apart another person, and that's the problem with the boxes. What you know when someone puts doubt in us and tells us we're
We
not
must have a
enough.
million damn boxes.
What do you mean?
Like, like, so I'm trying to just, I guess maybe I'm struggling about this box thing. I think I must have blew mine up a long ass time ago, or I was taught not to do it. Like, my parents knew, like, there's this concept of creating a box and limits for yourself, limiting yourself. My mother ended up going that route eventually for her own security reasons, so I completely understand and respect it. But I stuck with I'm not going to build a box. Because I think I tried for like a year and it led to like horrible things in my life. So is it one box with many attributes and like characteristics and energy within it? Or is it like many boxes that hold all the characteristics and from physical, metaphysical, spiritual that make a human? Like what is I guess I'm kind of like I understand the concept, but the more we talk about this, I guess maybe I don't. Maybe I don't really understand this box. Like I said, I tried for a year when we first moved down here to the Tennessee area because I was new and because I didn't understand the environment and I tried to like create this box. Yeah, that lasted for a year and then I blew it up, man. And then I get fired and I blew it up. I blew it up all over the place just because of fuck you in this box. Um, so I guess I'm kind of not understanding the box. And I'm being sincere right now. Maybe I'm not understanding the box and why we can't just fly without being on a balloon. And I know you're talking about balance on the balloon, which I love that metaphor. And I understand when people say, man, don't let them knock you off your block. Don't let others knock you off your block, your square. They're talking about that flipping box. So is it a good thing or a bad thing, or is it just the thing that humans do in civilized society? And what is it? What's it filled of?
What?
What's a box? Okay.
we the,
I think everybody just probably responded like you did, Lucky. Okay, so what is this box? It's, I mean, we started from like people pleasing and this and security and comfort. And then I went into like, maybe it's like the three parts of your individual self. Maybe it's a, I clearly come into the head of an hour. So thank you all for being in the chat. I probably just messed y'all up. What is the box? I'm literally now I'm just going, I don't even know if I know what this box is. My poor husband, if he's listening, and happy birthday, Brad. It's Brad's birthday weekend. Um, if he's listening, he's gonna be like, oh damn, this is what I live with. Like, what's the box? What is the box? Is it full? What's it full of? Let's start there. This box that we create, what is inside of this box? What do we do with this box? Is it a prison or is it a gift? I need to know.
Yes, let me talk. This is actually becomes way more complicated than it's. You've made it much more complicated than really. Probably 3 or 4 boxes.
Okay.
The box we show to our family, the box we show to our friends, the box we show to our work, and the box we don't show anybody. But
Okay.
the fourth one, if you're lucky, is in a box because you're not bound by the paradigms of what I should be, and you're comfortable in yourself and says I can be anything I want in just for me. When you're just for yourself, you can be anyone you want unless you think you have to perform into some certain, because those people, there are people who always want to be on. I know people like
Mm,
that.
yeah.
And even when they're with themselves, I don't think they can be themselves. I think they always need something. I need to be told who they are. So is it a gift to people who need control, who cannot be in their own control? It's a gift.
Like it's just a sense of security.
Yeah,
Like it's a gift of a sense of security, but at the same time, it's a prison of limitations.
it's a prison of the limitations that you allow, and the more you rely on it, the stuff tough of those prison bars. The less you rely on it, sometimes we go, okay, I will put on this face, deal with work, and then go back to my desk and f you all, that kind of thing. So, in with family, oh God, the family box. Think about, sometimes we have to do what family wants, and just to be at peace. To You have to swallow your pride just so you can make your face long enough to say, okay, they made their visit, and then you can get out of there because
You're free. Don't
you're
we
free.
always say those words? We're free.
But some people, I mean, like a friend of mine, he will spend hours with his family. He doesn't want to spend hours with his family because he thinks it's his obligation, rather than making an appearance and then, okay, they made their appearance and getting the hell out of there.
So we do create these because we probably been doing it forever for some kind of social structure.
Oh yeah, I think that's where it comes from. Where we have to know our place in society just so society can run smoothly. But in the society we live now, it gets crazy. There's just so
Ah.
many now. I mean, let's say, sick of argument. There are computer programs that make people better. They train them, they keep them educated. They bring them up. Then there's computer programs that are bad. They're just violence and gore and goofiness and just out. And then they're just sheer entertainment. The problem, you say, oh God, you're always on that computer. You got no, you're wasting your time, wasting your brains. Well, we don't know what they're doing on that computer. They might be writing up programs for a hospital. They might be doing math, or who knows. But again, we tend to think that people are on the computers. They're all just mind numb, um,
So we
automatons.
judge the other boxes.
Huge, yes. I think that's
Oh
what makes our box.
man.
By judging other boxes, we make our box stronger.
We're not actually judging the person, we're judging what they're projecting.
What it is a reflection of ourselves, because the things we don't like about our box, we tend to see bright,
Mm-hmm.
glowing in other people's boxes,
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's a mirror of one another.
and we're angry, and you know,
And we're angry. Apparently, you are your 3 notes to the boss that's not sent that you hand wrote.
mhm.
Um, so is everybody else, it seems, in today's world. I don't. I get angry. Don't get me wrong. I get angry. Um, I don't hold on to it long. What I will do is I will get very deep and introspective inward as to how am I failing. Like, how am I failing myself? How am I failing others? How am I that kind of thing? Like, where am I? That's usually where, like, if I'm creating that negative box, and like I said somewhere in this, then it's like, okay, well, I'm going to burn all of that down to then resurrect out of the ashes like a phoenix and start doing and make it happen, make things go. Um, but that's how I operate. Most people don't operate. That's a daily basis of beating themselves up. Mine is, I don't know, maybe a day or two. Um, so these boxes are what we project out and the decisions we make in doing so. So your definition does make a little sense to me because, like, tomorrow night I have a gathering to go to. Can't wait. I mean, good times. Actually, yeah, yesterday I was like, oh, this is a horrible time to be around humans. Like, I did not want to be around a single person. Um, and I was like, but I woke up this morning, re-energized, inspiration came to me. It was a great day. So I'll be fine tomorrow. Because I die and I resurrect. I die and I resurrect. That's, we all do it, just most people don't recognize it. Die and resurrect, die and resurrect. Um, but here's the thing, like, it originally started as like a what was supposed to be a small, like, 6 maybe to 10 people just for like business brainstorming and getting to know each other better. And now it's evolved into something much bigger, a party, pool party. It's going to be a good time. That's not what I'm saying, but it's no longer business. But then I don't know if it is because it's still all semi business associates of mine. Well, I don't party with associates. So I'm like, okay, what box, I guess, do I project? Right? Like, I probably am not going to be talking business while at a party. It's kind of like, even in your, anybody's kind of, whatever you do for a job, you know, there might be one or two coworkers you're going to go have drinks with and bitch about the boss. You're not going to go out, you probably aren't going to go have drinks with the whole damn department.
Mm.
Or if you do, you're going to have like one drink and you're going to watch what you say the whole time. I mean, this is everybody. So that's like a box as to, well, how am I going to feel it out? How am I even going to talk? I'd rather listen through all sorts of events like that than actually engage that much. And is it still business when there's a bunch of people there that I don't know, which is cool. That's fine because now it's a party. It's not a business brainstorming, getting to know you function. So I guess it's kind of, you know, today I was like, wow, what Cortney would show up? You know, I originally thought it was going to be I'm talking business.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think I'm talking business anymore. So I guess this is going to be the Cortney that just hangs back and chills, which is not what any of these people would expect because they are my business associates and or people I don't know. See, isn't that weird? Because some only know you in one fashion opposed to another.
Mm-hmm. It does get complicated, and it becomes clearer that sometimes the walls and the blocks can merge, so you can jump back and forth, but you have to make a decision at some point. Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of, yeah, I mean, I'm just going to kind of go with the flow and see what happens, but, which is fine and good. And, you know, you get to meet new people and what have you. It just vastly changed from what it originally was
Mm-hmm.
to something now that's it's just different. So it's kind of like what who goes to this? Because I will say, Cortney, that's not Stars of the Morning Light, probably wouldn't go. But Cortney, that is Stars of the Morning Light, has to go because what's funny about this, Lucky, I technically started it, supposedly.
Yeah,
like,
that
in January.
that happens to us, fortunately.
So what was originally is not, which is groovy, groovy. That's not what I'm saying. It's that does business Courtney, who is very different than actual Courtney, um, that's not
Mm.
working. You see what I'm saying? Like, am I working or am I not working? Am I working at this party or am I not working at this party? I have no idea. Is it a work party or is it not a work party? I have no idea.
Well, it might just be which is more important to you.
Neither. Yeah.
So that's a
Yeah.
problem. If neither is
Yeah.
important,
Neither.
then there's no risk reward situation.
Exactly. Well, see, that's the problem I always have, Lucky, because for some reason, I actually was thinking about it today. I walk around every single day with the thought in my mind that I have nothing to lose. Like, that is always in me. I have nothing to lose. If I died tomorrow, I'd be perfectly fine.
Hmm.
Like, I have nothing to lose. If I lose this house, I'd be perfectly fine. If I
But
don't know,
then,
whatever might happen, I'm perfectly, like, I have that so ingrained in me. And so when things like this, it has nothing to do with losing or not losing, it's that I am so neutral that I don't ever care. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but it's because I kind of don't. It has nothing to do with me. This has nothing to do with me anymore.
hmm
It's not mine. It has nothing to do with me. Same as I talked about, like with the event. I'm gonna start it. It's gonna be up. It's gonna be running. It's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be a big, beautiful, magnificent thing with a website, everything. And then I'm just gonna give it to somebody. Take it. I could care less. Take it. I never. I don't live a life that if I lose or I don't live that way. I ain't got nothing to lose. And I never thought I ever did. So maybe that's how I can have the cojones that I do to just do whatever I want.
hmm
And I don't know. I don't know. But see, I don't have kids. I did realize that when I got older, that if I had kids, it would probably be different. You know what I mean? If I had
Yeah, it
kids,
does change.
then
Yeah,
it changes things.
changes a
So,
lot.
I mean, I respect the difference there. Right.
Yeah, it is a lot to think about. But then it doesn't matter because, if it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter. What this is, a business or a recreational.
Yeah. That's why it's like, well, then I'm just going to have to float on my balloon and balance and just be in the now, right, Lucky?
That's
And
all you can do,
let it flow whichever way it's going to go because it doesn't really matter either way.
right? I mean, you could prepare for a business meeting superficially, just okay. Yeah, I understand everything I need to do if it comes up, and then just go and if it comes up, you're prepared. If it doesn't come up, you were still prepared, for future reference. So I guess that's about it. That's all it is.
Yeah, and so I'm not saying it's not a good idea or a good time. I'm just saying I have no idea what it is.
It's it is
But
tough.
I think a lot of these people are hippies. I love the hippies, man. Hippies just want to get together and have a good time, and whatever happens, happens. And I'm not a hippie. I've never been a hippie. Never once. Never once have I been a hippie. Because normally I wouldn't go out. Normally I don't go. Normally I'm not around people. I normally I'm good. I don't go around people. Maybe once in a while. Um,
Yeah, I that's how I prefer.
yeah, yeah. Brad and I are very content with just the two of us. And I'm very content alone. I mean, we didn't get married until I was 28. I lived
Mhm.
alone damn near my whole life because my mom moved out in high school, so I lived alone.
Mm.
So it's like you just yeah, I'm not used to it. So Lucky, did we talk about the box enough?
I think so. When it was basically it was just a conversation starter. I didn't think it would be a
I kept
whole
trying to
topic.
go with it because I had no idea. I mean, we could have just popped a hole in your balloon and it would have been over with.
True,
True,
true.
true.
But then when you don't have the balloon, you don't have the box, that's gone. So that's a free and thing situation as it is.
That's what I'm
Free.
talking about.
It's all free. There's not anything to
Just
hold on
fly,
to. Just
blow your
go.
own self up with helium and float around. Blow your own self up with a bunch of hot air. Oh
True,
my
true,
gosh.
true.
Yeah. Anything else, Lucky? Because I didn't know what to even do with that, so I just babbled. It doesn't matter if it's, whatever system it is. It has nothing to do with those, they're not thinking about, who they're actually affecting.
Hmm.
So I get it. And then I would, three strikes and you're out. And then you know, I would learn that I had to leave because you can't fight the system.
Hmm.
I tried many times, but you can't fight it, especially when
Hmm.
it's that big. Yeah. I would tell them everything on my way out and try and explode and try to burn everything down. Yeah. Hmm. Well, but for you, what are you going to do with that anger? I mean, your anger doesn't do shit to them. And you think it serves you as in being cunning and clever and getting what you want in the end. But your anger doesn't do anything to them. It's only going to hurt you.
Yeah. So
You can't talk to an angry person, Courtney. Duh.
once anger starts, it needs to progress through,
You
and
think so?
you can't. Whenever anger starts, it has to finish. You can't just turn off anger. It just is. Once you get there,
What? What? And once anger starts, it has to.
you didn't get their anger without a path.
Yes,
The
I
path
get
is still
that.
there. So you're angry about the situation, unless it gets resolved and something gets done to let it go. It's a path. It's a progress,
Oh no, because you're attaching your anger to an external thing.
which is
When your
writing the letter. When you write
anger
the
is
letter, you're
internal.
venting the letter. You're venting your anger into the letter. Yes.
Okay. Hmm. See, I don't. I whenever I'm working through whatever my anger is, I will always go internal. Because that external stuff, whatever, man, it's gonna come, it's gonna go, it's gonna be there, it's gonna not be there, it's gonna be at this job, the next job, all the jobs, all the people, all the places, all the things. Because this whole world is destroyed and fucked up, right? And I'm sure everybody in the chat can understand that. The anger that I feel is based out of something: fear, sadness, disappointment, something. So then I work through what is the actual root of this anger. And when I can get to the root of the anger, well, then I can heal that root of it and dispel the anger, because the anger is going to do nothing but hurt me. It does nothing to anyone else. Nothing to anyone else. Trust me. They could, if we thought anger actually achieved something, then we would be a whole lot this world would be a whole lot different than it is now, wouldn't it? Because everybody seems to be pissed off for some reason. Because mostly everybody's afraid or everybody's got emotions of some sort. So logically, I get through to the root, and then that root is probably the emotion that I'm actually having to look at. And then I have to work with that emotion. And some might be logic, some might be the affirmations that you do, some might be whatever, but I don't hold on to anger at all. I first have to acknowledge that I'm angry, because sometimes it's just running, and then I gotta acknowledge it, but I do not go more than, once I acknowledge it, I don't go more than 3 hours anymore. Usually a half an hour. No matter how big or how small. No matter how big or how small. Because it's only killing me. Nobody else gives a shit. I'm just saying. You're like, nope, it's my anger. I gotta see it through. All right, Lucky, you see it through, man.
I
You
just
have
don't
fun
care
with
right
that.
now. I don't.
August 5th. Everybody, if you're still with us, thank you, praise you, you're great. Go be happy, not angry. There's nothing to fear. Let go. August 5th is now International Hug a Giant Day. We're going to make it happen, Lucky. Hug a damn giant. Giants need love too. Do you know everybody has a flippin' day? Everybody, even the flippin' leprechauns have a day, and they ain't done shit for humans. They didn't do anything. Nobody's actually received that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Leprechauns never did anything, and they get a whole beautiful day of people dressing up like them. So, Hug a Giant Day, August 5th, international. So, wherever you are, Canada, Ireland, Australia, we don't care. International Hug a Giant Day, because giants need love too, and they're the only ones without a day. Pisses me off. See, you get angry, you do something about it, you make it happen, right? It's not fair. Giants deserve love.
Very true.
They helped us build societies and all of this. They helped you build all those damn little boxes, people, that clearly everyone loves. Do you love your box, Lucky? I
No,
asked if it pissed you off, but do you love it? Do you love that box?
it was a throwaway thought. It was.
No, man, no. You love that box, don't you, Lucky? Is it your security blanket? Our boxes are security blankets. There we go. That's how we're
Okay.
gonna end this.
Yeah, okay. Box of security blankets. So have your security in your box and be
Blow it
at
up
peace.
like a balloon.
Be at peace. Be at love. Be at joy. Uh,
August
uh,
5th, Hug a Giant Day.
sure. Yeah. What's next?